Hello, and welcome to another episode of Content Creators Unite, the show where we discuss all things content creation. So, if you want to learn how to grow your business using your blog, newsletters, ebooks, and more, you're in the right place. And I'm your host, John Clements. Our guest for today's episode is Chad Smith. Chad is a 25-year fitness veteran who's brought his results-driven approach to digital marketing. As the owner of Five Lions Digital Marketing Agency, he helps small businesses ditch the struggle bus and find more customers online. So, Chad, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, brother John. I appreciate the invitation. I'm looking forward to lots of talking, but learning from you as well.
Awesome. Yeah. And right up front, love your energy. So I'm excited about this conversation. So, all right. So I gave the two-sentence version of who you are. How about a little bit more detail? What's your background? How did you get into doing what you do?
Well, I had about a 25-year career in the world of fitness and wellness. So back before the pandemic happened, we were rocking and rolling, doing all kinds of fun and cool stuff at my gyms. And pandemic hit, and we managed to navigate through pandemic. And by the time we got done, everything had changed. About 35% of fitness businesses that closed during pandemic have never reopened. So it really hit our business hard. So I needed to pivot, and I pivoted once before when we had the big economic turndown back in the Bush era, if you recall. I don't know if we're the same age, but I'm 50. But we got through it because of smart marketing. A lot of people they stopped their marketing. We pressed forward with more. So by the time people were ready to come back, we were top of mind because we purposely stayed top of mind. This time around, it was different because people weren't in a hurry to get back into the gyms, right? Because they were still very fearful of being around a lot of people, right? So when you have a model like a lot of our models were, like small group training or even large group, like boot camp style training, that was no bueno because people were just terrified to be around people. And, whatever your leanings on that situation are, that just was what it was. So I pivoted to a different model. So now we focused on large group boot camp style training. Now we focused on small group training, like 5-6 at a time. We shrunk our space a bit, and I launched a nutrition label, and we also launched an online training company also. So that's really it, man. And then when I started to work with other people who were in my industry, they were like, you're really good at this. You should just do marketing, right? Forget that gym stuff. But so I pivoted a bit, helped my girlfriend build up her coaching company, and started to come up with the framework, which is now what I call my elite acquisition method, which is made up of the framework of attract, engage, and empower.
Nice. So so that's kind of cool. So I'm kind of like you in that I had to pivot during the pandemic as well. A little bit different story for me. I actually lost my job because of the severe economic downturn that was associated with that. So I totally get pivoting during a pandemic and how difficult it is. So, hey man, congrats on doing that. That is not an easy task.
Man, it was insane. I mean, I have never been so terrified in my life. It's because I didn't know if I was going to have a gym business or if I wanted to go back into the employment side, if there was going to be jobs. I said, this thing really did a number on the fitness business. So, yeah, it was bad for a while.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm kind of a little more curious about what you said you had your marketing your 3 steps of your marketing plan that's kind of what you focus on. So tell me a little bit more about that. Like what excites you about doing marketing in that way?
Well, it goes back to my coaching days in the fitness business. Was a lot of people find fitness so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Are you a workout guy, John?
I'm a runner. That's what I do.
Okay, all right, because you look like you might be in shape. I don't know, but
I try.
But the main thing is that people, it can be it's a lot. We don't know. Everyone's got their thing. People tell you to do this, to do that. You want to lose weight, you do this. You want to put on muscle, you do that. But what I always did was I was always very data based. I never guessed on what worked. I always let the science guide my program design, and I gathered data. Whenever someone would train with me, I gathered data. This is what we did. These are the results we got. Cool. Now we're going to keep a component of this and make this the starting point for everyone who wants to come in with this goal. All right, what did we do when this happened? Okay, let's write this down. And now, over time, we have data, and now we have a system, right? So it got to the point to where if I hired a coach, this is our system. Go train our clients and go get results. No guesswork. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. The wheel is ready. It's polished. All you got to do is put it on the wagon, right? And you're going to be a rock star because you're going to get results with our system. So I translate that over into the marketing world because it can be very confusing. There's so many gurus who will tell you to do all these things. Like, for instance, someone will email you and tell you email is dead. Or you'll see an ad on Facebook. Or you'll see an ad on Facebook. Hey, stop doing ads. Do this instead. You're doing an ad, So it's but what I do is I make everything very simple, right? So we break it down into 3 phases. And it's funny because a lot of things that I talk about are always in 3s. So attract phase is acquisition. Now we're working on learning who our ideal client is, learning who we are as a brand, both personal and your company brand, because a lot of people don't know that it's 2 separate things. Me, I have a Chad Smith brand, and I've got the 5 Lions digital marketing brand, 2 different things. And then once we do that, now we craft our irresistible offer. What are you offering your clients that they would run through a wall to get to? And until you figure that out, you're always going to be feast or famine. So you have to understand the art and the science of creating an offer. And then once you do that, what are your channels? Where do your people hang out? Are they online? Where they gather, right? So you have to get to know them inside and out. And then once you get there, now you can start to attract them. And when you get them there, once you start to acquire these clients, we move on to the engage phase. Well, this is where you deliver on your promise. This is where you over-deliver on your promise. If I tell you I'm going to do this for you, I'm also going to do these 2 things for you as well. Always over-deliver. This is the engage phase. This is where you create fans, right? This is where you get in results, deliver on your promise, and you create fans. This is also where if you have a contract, let's say you have a 1-year contract. Well, on day 1 of that contract, we're already planning for contract number 2. So we're not even worried about finishing out this contract, because that's a given. So we're looking ahead as to what can we do during this contract to make the second contract a guarantee. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's the engage phase. That's where you over deliver, right? And then we move on right into the empower phase. Now, this is where you've gotten them great results. You've taught them how to maintain those results. And now they become your sales force. So now they start to bring people to you. So now you can go back to the attract phase and spend less money, because now you've got this army of people who are your bannermen who are going to bring business to you. And you can gradually reduce your ad spend, because now you've got a powerful referral network full of people who are excited, people whose lives you transformed or businesses you transformed, and it just becomes a cycle.
I love that. So it's just based on data. You're going out and testing things. You're trying things. You're doing the work to find out who your customer is. And by the way, I checked you out on LinkedIn, and one of the things I loved is you don't sugarcoat it. right? You don't say this is easy and anybody can do this. I mean, anybody can do it, but you can do this in like 5 minutes and be done. Like, no, it does take work. It does take discipline and dedication, but you can do it. And I love that the way that you describe that. So let me ask you this though. If I'm coming to you and I need help, you're a marketing agency, and now I'm going to sign on with you. What are the common things that people get stuck on? Like, and how do you help them overcome those specific obstacles?
Well, I think people think too small with their business. And I hate to use the term small business, but it's good for SEO value. But I think people think they think too small. I think you have to have a clear vision of what's possible with your business, and then work backwards on how to get there. Because chances are, if you look around in your industry, someone's done it. If someone else can do it, like, you can do it too. You just have to have the discipline and have the commitment that things are going to suck for a long time before they're good. And I don't sugarcoat that. Like, if you're a startup and you're getting into the sport of entrepreneurism, like, it's going to suck. It's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done in your entire life. But don't let that keep you from thinking big. Like, dream big. And think about how you can get there, work backwards. And number two is there's two major choke points when we think about the three levels of business. So the first level is acquisition. The second level is thrilling your clientele. You have to make them happy. The top level is duplication. So duplicating your clients, duplicating your system, duplicating what you're doing. So there's two major choke points. The first is between acquisition and thrill. So most people get stuck between those two, right? Because things will happen to where you have a great system to acquire clients, but the next level sucks. So either your quality of work is not as good as it should be, your retention is terrible. You're getting them okay results, right? So you turn to a commodity. So the first financial hit they take, they get rid of you, right? I always say people should be ready to sell a kidney before they drop your services. If you're doing a good job, they should be looking at it should be stressful thinking about not paying you anymore. It should be stressful. But the choke point there is a lack of systems. And that's where you have a lot of holes. And that's why they keep getting stuck between the two. The second choke point is between the thrill phase and the duplication phase. So they make them really happy, but your business doesn't grow because they're not bringing you new business. They're not telling your story to the world. They're not, talking about their results. And that's a purposeful thing. You have to have a system to duplicate your best clients, even if you're not doing it. If you get stuck in those 2 points, those are the two biggest hindrances to your business growth.
I like that, man. I can tell you've done this a time or two before. Like, you've really drilled into this is where people get stuck.
Well, yeah,
I love it.
once or twice. But have you heard of the funnel? Have you heard of like a sales funnel, right?
Yeah.
It's basically an upside down funnel. So, but the funnel is you put people at the top and you work them way down, right? The middle of the funnel is the most crucial part because this is where you can lose a lot of money. And if you don't fix those holes in that part of the funnel, your business is going to fail spectacularly. I mean, if we're going to be honest, like, acquisition is easy. You can get a bunch of clients. Now, will they always be the best clients? Maybe not. Once you get good at what you do, you're going to get better at getting higher quality clients into your funnel or higher quality leads into your funnel. When you're new, listen, I go the opposite route. People say you have to niche down. I'm like, when you're new, you don't really have the luxury of niching down, right? When you're new. So I think another thing that I advise is that you got to get your reps in. Get your reps in. Just get as many people into your funnel as you can and weed them out as you go. And as you get better, you'll be able to attract higher quality leads.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to jump in there because I completely agree with you. This is what I did. So I'm an editor. I'm a writer. That's what I do for a living. And you're exactly right. When I started in early 2021, there was no niching. It was, I will do anything that anyone wants me to do for money,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's not possible to niche down when you haven't experienced all of the different client types. I ended up in some niche areas that I would have never guessed. I thought that I was going to be in one niche, and I ended up in a completely different niche because I had the experience, right? I tried it out. I found out. So now I can whittle it down a little more. Whereas 3-4 years ago, yeah, you want something done? You're going to pay me?
Yeah, I'm
Where
in.
can I sign, right?
Let's go. Right, let's go. Right, exactly. Yeah, because when you knew, you had more authority.
Yeah.
You know, you have more authority, and you're up against people who've been in the business a lot longer than you. So it's tough, really tough, almost impossible to stand out when you're brand new. So you got to build your authority, and that means that take anybody who can dependably pay you and create testimonials, create reviews, and create case studies. That way, then you can use that as weight for when you really want to get to one type of person.
Absolutely. Yep. That's what I'm right in the middle of doing myself. I get it. So let's shift gears just a little bit because I want to talk about some practical examples. So everything we've been talking about is amazing. It's all kind of on the theoretical side. So let's just talk for a minute about how you do content creation. So you post a ton on LinkedIn, for example. Let's say we're talking about Chad Smith, the brand. So how does all that filter in your brain and to then get words on the page? Like what does your process look like?
Well, let me ask you: you've consumed some of the content. What do you see when you read it?
What do I see when I read? I see a guy who's very knowledgeable, very willing to give his knowledge away for free. Because I'm an editor, I see a guy who knows how to format correctly, which I deeply appreciate. I see a guy who knows marketing up one side and down the other and wants to help you learn the same things. Like that's what I see. Is that what you were trying to do?
That's exactly it. I am, at my heart, I'm not a marketer. I've developed a high degree of skill in marketing because I was a coach and I wanted to learn how to attract more people so that I could coach them, right? So I learned the art and the science of marketing. At the same time, I learned the art and science of coaching. But at my heart, I'm a coach, and I like to teach. That is the main thing. I think it's a difference between me and probably some of my competitors is that I'm a teacher. I don't want my clients to be dependent on me for the rest of their lives. As far as, I'm going to do all this stuff for you. And then if I decide to move away from our relationship, you're stuck. Now you got to find somebody new. But that's, again, a part of the empowerment part of the process. Is that I'm going to empower you to the point where you don't need me. Now, if you want me to keep working with you, I will, but I don't want you to ever need me. But to answer your question, my process is problem, solution, resolution, for the most part. What's the problem that you may be experiencing? What's the solution? And can I explain it in a way that you understand and that you can get some quick wins from the jump? And then the resolution, how have we resolved your situation so that you don't run into these problems ever again by using the solution that I presented. That's basically how I write most of my content is problem, solution, resolution. If I keep that format, it makes things super easy for me. And I always start with a story and I always end with a call to action. I always tell you what to do at the end of my content.
I stress that so much. Yep. And starting with a story. Also, I noticed you actually put a statistic in one of your articles that I personally didn't know that was related to my job that I do. So it's like, that's a great thing to put in there.
I love data. I love data.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about that. So you're a big data guy. That's wonderful. So when you post, let's say when you post an article on LinkedIn, what are you looking for in terms of success? Like, are you looking for a certain number of clicks? Are you looking for a certain number of comments, or is it something more maybe organic than that?
Here's the thing. This social media thing, it's a tricky thing. A very small amount of people get, virality, right? I don't the metrics, and well, the good thing about these platforms now is that you didn't used to have. LinkedIn does it so well. They give you all the data as far as your performance goes. My ultimate measure of success is how many people that I see looking at my profile after I post a piece of content, and then how many connections do I get. So there's a lot of people who will look at your content, they'll consume your content, but they'll never react to it, or they'll never, unless you're like a big name guy like a Grant Cardone or like a Brendan Burchard, or chances are you're not going to get a lot of interaction, right? You're not going to get a whole lot, but people are consuming it. Don't think they're not. For instance, the other day I was at the grocery store, and this lady who I had no idea who she was walks through and says, "Are you Chad Smith?" I was like, "Yeah." So, well, am I in trouble? Like, what'd I do? She was like, I read all your posts. There's a certain local Facebook group that I post in almost daily, and she said, I love it. I don't really like say much about it, but I love it. So keep posting it. It's really good. So, and that reinforced what I tell my clients, that like, don't ever think nobody's reading your stuff, because people are. A very small percentage of people are going to ever interact with it, but they're reading it. And if you look at the background data, especially on LinkedIn. So that's what I use as if it's successful or not, is what's my connection growth like from week to week. And then I look at what my highest performing content is for that week, and I'll try to create more of that as I go.
Yeah, I like that, because I think there's somewhere on your website, I don't remember where, unfortunately, but I think you talk about vanity metrics and how it doesn't really matter how many likes or anything you get, but like to be able to tie that to, like you said, who's looking at my profile, how many connection requests, how many in-person conversations, like those are great ways to look at it. I love that.
Facts, 100%. Yeah. Again, I just want to stress that I think it's less than 1 or 2% of social media posts ever go viral. Like for the tens of millions of people who are on social media platforms, like single digits will ever go viral. So don't create for virality. Just create to increase your authority in your space. Your body of knowledge is what could be the deciding factor when they choose someone to work with. So if you and I are both in the marketing space, and I've got years of dope content, and you are barely present on social media, like, who do you think someone's going to pick? Me.
Yeah,
exactly. If all things are even, like right now, for example, there's some agencies in my area who've been around for like 10 years or more. And if you look at the SEO values for my agency, I'm in the top 3 with these guys all the time. I'm in the top 3.
Yeah, and that raises an important. Yeah,
I eat my own soup, right? So there's no way I should be beating them in the SEO race if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing as an agency. But I'm in the top 3 with them. And I've been in official business for a year.
Well, you're doing it right, man.
What's that tell you? I know what I'm doing.
You know what you're doing. Actually, it reminds me of I guess I'll call it, say, a mentor that I heard one time say that your biggest problem in your business is exposure, just getting in front of people.
Fact.
And he says, look at the biggest brands on the planet. They don't necessarily have the best products or services. They've just gotten in front of the most amount of people. And the more I think about that, the more I agree with you. That's a fact. Like, that's just what it is.
I mean, is Coke really better than Pepsi?
You're going to start a fist fight with that one. I don't know. I don't think I want to answer that question.
I think Coke outsells Pepsi, but is Coke really better than Pepsi, if we're going to be honest?
No.
No. Come on, man. No, it's not. I mean, is the Ford F-150 really that much better than like a Toyota Tacoma? I mean, a Tundra. I mean, come on, fam. It's the same truck, if we're going to be honest, right? It's the same,
right?
But one brand just has, has you sometimes you just see it more. I see a lot more Ford commercials than I see Toyota commercials when it comes to trucks.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah. And that's
I see a lot more Ford commercials.
That's even true. Yeah.
But does that mean it's better? No, of course not. It just means that you see it more, so you assume it's better. So the point is, like you said, just get out there, just do whatever you got to do. Just write everywhere that you can. I built my whole fitness career on a newspaper article that I wrote every week. That's it, because nobody else was writing. Just write. Just hit send on that post. People get so stuck on perfection that they don't produce anything. Just
absolutely.
Just produce. Even if it sucks, you're gonna get better. If you look at the top YouTubers on the planet and you look at their first year, it was terrible. It was awful. But they kept putting it out there and they kept honing their skill and they kept getting better at it. And now you got someone like Mr. Beast. I think he's got something like 100 million subscribers.
Yeah, something ridiculous. Yeah,
a ridiculous amount, right? But you just got to get in the habit of doing it and be patient, right? You're not going to get those results overnight, but once it clicks, just like in the grocery store, I could have been thinking, man, no one reads my stuff, man. But then, opportunities like that where someone actually confirms that your stuff's being read is worth it all.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. All right. So with a couple of minutes we have left, I could talk about this all day, but I think our listeners probably have other things that they got to do. So we'll give them a break. I'm going to assume that you don't work all the time. At least I hope you don't. Hope you have good boundaries in place. No. So when you're not working, what do you like to do, man? What's your favorite thing to do?
Well, of course, first and foremost, it's gym time.
Yeah, I could have guessed that.
I stay in the gym. I try to get there daily, but if I get in about 3 days a week, I'm pretty happy. I'm 50 now, so back in my early days, late teens, early 20s, you couldn't keep me out of the gym. Now I'm just, I wanted to be the strongest guy in the gym. I want to be ripped. Now I just don't want to drop dead of a heart attack at 50. That's the new goal. It's a modified goal. And the cool thing is, I started taking my son to the gym with me. He's 15, and he's getting into lifting, and he wants to work on his look. So I'm pretty happy about that. It's every gym dad's dream is to have their son in the gym with him. Plus, also, I'm a big comic book nerd. I read comics every week. I watch every comic book based TV show and movie ever produced. So yeah, that's it, man. Gym, comics, and
nice.
Hanging out with my girlfriend. That's it.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite comic or superhero or villain?
X-Men, brother.
X-Men, nice.
X-Men. They got the whole X-Men being rebooted right now. I can't wait.
Oh, and do you like all? I mean, they've got 1,000 X-Men movies, and have you watched them all? I suppose.
Yeah, I've seen them all.
Nice.
I've seen them all. Some are better than others, but I've seen them all, for better or for worse.
Excellent.
I don't care how bad it is. I'm not going to miss a superhero movie. I don't care how terrible it is.
Nice. Love the passion. So one last question for you. Actually, two more questions. So you said you're 50. You've had some incredible experiences in your life, no doubt. You're a father, and I'm a father too, so I know that imparts wisdom, whether you want it to or not. You learn a ton about life. What's one piece of wisdom or maybe a life lesson? Could be work related, could be life related, that you could share with our audience that would just help them be better people?
Start the business. Take the trip, right? Do the thing. Life is short, and it's too short to say, man, I wish I would have. Life's more fun with risk. Take the dive, man. Jump in the water. Do it. Whatever you want to do. It's what's the old saying? Everything you've ever dreamed of is on the other side of fear. But the problem is that a lot of us have had our dream space crushed or compressed. From the time we're little, we have these big, massive dreams, and then people start telling us what we can't do. Be realistic. Your family doesn't come from money. This is what you should do. This is not. So we get these little teeny weeny little dreams, and then we get full of fear about failing. Well, I'm like, I like failing. When I'm in sales mode, I like hearing no, because every time you fail, it gives you an opportunity to learn. Every time you get told no, it gives you an opportunity to get better. So do the thing and don't quit until you get to where you want to be. Do the thing, don't quit. Keep working.
Yeah, well, I love the advice. Yeah, I'll have to do a solo episode sometime talking about how I'm an expert at failure because I've failed in pretty big ways. But you know what? I tell people, it's like, look, I failed, but my wife still loves me. My kids still love me. I'm still
There you
alive.
go. And did you really
Right?
fail though? Like
No, I
that
didn't. It just didn't work out,
Yeah, that didn't work. You didn't fail. That just didn't work. I always say I've never failed, but I've learned a lot about what doesn't work.
Exactly. I mean, that's the growth mindset that's so important. So excellent.
Agreed.
So Chad, where can people learn more about you?
Well, they can find me on www.5lionsmarketing.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Chad Smith in Frederick, Maryland. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, basically everywhere. But if anybody here is in a service type business and you really want to learn what it takes to really grow your business in a predictable way, and you want a guideline of what to do on a daily basis to do it, if you email me, with the subject line checklist to chieflion@5lionsmarketing.com, I will send you my ultimate client acquisition checklist. It is a no-brainer, step-by-step process on how to create an acquisition machine.
Oh, that's great. So, and we'll be sure to have that information in the show notes so that everyone can get that. And I hope you get a ton of emails because that's amazing. So, Chad, thank you so much for being on the show today. Really appreciate having you.
Brother, I appreciate you, man. Anytime you want me to come back, I'm in. You get pushed to the top of the tier.
Awesome. All right. Well, if you enjoyed listening to our discussion as much as we enjoyed having it, hey, be sure to subscribe because you don't want to miss out on any future episodes because, look, we talk with some amazing people and we have some great episodes and you're going to learn a ton. And so with that, I hope you have a great day and we'll see you next time on the Content Creators Unite podcast.